welcome to the CommuniCast with the special E3 edition. I have assembled just people, no one really special. So, going down the list, we have Fappy. Say hello, Fappy.
Hello, I'm more special than Fizz.
Whatever. Then we got Fargo Dog. Say hello.
Hello, I'm less special than Fappy, but still more special than Fizz.
No, Fargo, you're more special than me. You've got an FLCL avatar.
You had one, though, and then you betrayed everyone by removing it.
You're probably the only one who remembered that, and we'll get to that later.
Okay. Then we have Neuronium. Say hello, Nero.
I'm not as special as Fappy, Fargo, or Frizz, but I will say this, I do have the sexiest voice.
Whatever. That's just your opinion.
That's debatable.
I don't know.
Oh, and then we have Thoughtful Salt.
Hello, everybody. First time here. Glad to be here. I think.
Hooray. So, E3 just happened. It was a thing. About a week ago, actually. So we should probably just talk about... Okay, we're going to have to talk about this now. Let's just bitch about Microsoft for a bit. Everyone gets a minute, or less, to bitch about whatever. So, how about let's just go backwards. Thoughtful Salt, you go first.
Oh.
Dear Microsoft, I'm sorry I supported you all these years. You have done a lot of things wrong in the past couple weeks. From the 24-hour online check-in requirement to the used games fiasco to your dumbass PR. And $500 price tag for a Kinect that I will not ever use. I'm sorry I supported you. Sony, I'm going to be your bitch for the next little while.
That was the most politest ranting I've ever heard. That's just great.
Yeah, you even put a deer in there, and it was almost sincere at the beginning.
I know.
P.S. Nintendo actually looks kind of decent next to you.
Ooh, bird. All right, Nero, you're up.
Alright, so what can I say about the Xbox One that most people have not already said? Well, let's say something positive. It made it really easy for me to decide which console I'm going to be getting next generation. That's for sure. From really with your PR team, I wonder how it is that you function. I thought EA's PR team was pure evil and stupid. You seem to be going beyond it. EA must be clapping right now because now they know we're not going to get the Golden Poo Award 3 years in a row. $500 for a console? Well, great. Looks like you guys took the wrong thing from the PS3 launch, not to mention that you're region locking your console and only releasing it in 21 countries. Don Matrick, please shut up. You're not doing any favors for your company, and neither is Major Nelson.
Wow. It's pretty impressive.
He even called out some people. It's getting personal now.
Yeah, shit got real. All right, Fargo Dog. Your turn.
I think it's impressive as to how much Microsoft have fucked up that they presented a perfectly competent E3 press conference that any other year everyone would be like, that was perfectly fine. We had Halo, we had a new Insomniac game, we had some good exclusives, and at the end, all anyone thought was, you're still fucking incompetent at everything you do, which has been reinforced by Don Matrick, who is incompetent at everything he says, which is reinforced by Major Nelson, who can't seem to understand what he says and is asked questions about the EU, saying, I'm not a lawyer, I can't answer that. If you're going to be launching in about 11 EU countries, it's probably good if you know the laws of the EU, so you're not going to put your console out there and get fined to fuck, like you did with Windows 7 and Windows Vista.
Can I just say something really funny? I just saw this in a New York news article today. They didn't show anything on Windows 8. It was just Windows 7. So what does that tell you about them?
Really?
Yep,
Yeah.
and they also use NVIDIA cards instead of AMD.
What the hell?
That means that what we saw probably won't be what we see on the consoles themselves, which is hilarious. Wow, even on the PS4, it probably won't look the same.
And it was like NVIDIA 700 cards, which were about about 5 times more powerful than anything in the Xbox One.
I think so. But what's pretty funny is at the end...
Were they using Titans?
Maybe.
I don't know. All people saw was the cooler, which was a 700 card, so it was either a 7, 8, or a Titan.
But what I thought was pretty funny is at the very end of the article it said Sony has said that everything that was demoed was off a PS4 dev kit.
LOL. Yeah, that's not going to do Microsoft any favors.
No. No, and I just think that's pretty funny. All right, Fappy, your turn.
Well, I mean, everybody's already said their piece about the Xbox, so what can I say? Well, I gotta say that I agree with the bulk of the investors who say, Microsoft, get the fuck out of the consumer market because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're not Apple. You're a software developer, and you survive on corporate contracts. Stick to that because you're good at that. And really, there's not much else you can say about it. They fucked up. Now they fucked up. They have fucked up now. What else can you really...
They done goofed.
They done goofed really hard. They didn't play to any of their strengths, and they
boy.
just made a bunch of assumptions. I read a really interesting piece about how they they made a bunch of assumptions about the PS4, and were like, they're going to be bad too. We can do it. Nope. So, what can I say about the Microsoft press conference other than the Xbox One is not going to be anywhere near my living room?
I think that's pretty much everything. Everyone's thought on that little matter, except for the few people that want to play Halo and whatever. But
Just curious, did the new Halo actually have like any kind of information other than the CGI trailer? Because at the end they just said Halo.
Not that I'm aware of.
I thought I was watching a trailer for like a video game version of Desert Punk or something.
I thought they were porting Journey over to the Xbox One for a second.
It was sort of just trailer. It was like Halo still exists, and then they kind of walked off.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm the guy who started on the Xbox because of Halo, and I can tell you right now, after Halo 4, I really don't want to play any more Halos because that game just sucked.
I'd stopped playing the campaign after like the third or fourth mission. I was like, all right, Cortana, I'm tired of looking for USB ports for you.
I've never liked Halo.
Actually,
so...
her acting was Jen Taylor was a horrible actor in that game.
Oh, really?
I will not let you leave this planet!
Oh, God.
That does sound bad.
Yeah, that was basically what it sounded like.
Fizz, are you going to have your time to shine and rant, or are you just going to...
See, here's the thing. I have always hated Microsoft. Just because
Yeah, so this is like nothing new for you.
Yeah, so this is nothing new for me at all. So every time there's like a Microsoft like thread, even before E3, it was just like, I don't like them. I've never liked them, so they can fuck themselves off a cliff for all I care. And they did. And I don't care. It just makes me happy that my hatred for them is actually justified this time.
You know, the whole Xbox One thing wasn't even the worst news that came out of E3 for me. It was that, like, so many... it seems like a lot of developers have just come to hate Microsoft or something, because I found out that the newest BlazBlue, which is not coming out until next year for whatever reason in the West, is no longer multi-platform and is going to be PS3 exclusive. And I don't have a PS3 and I have an arcade stick for 360, so I have to spend money now, and I don't want to because one developer hates Microsoft.
Really? That's really, really weird.
And the funny thing that happened with CD Projekt, where they're like, oh, by the way, our countrymen cannot play our game on the Xbox One because it's not coming to Poland.
Yeah, that part kind of killed me. I don't understand that at all. I mean, granted, Microsoft has to do it for numbers and shareholders to see what kind of support and money they can get out of them, but that was just so dumb. Why would you do that?
It's almost as dumb as the fact that they actually are going to launch it in Japan and everything, but it's going to be launched in late 2014 when the Wii U was. Wii U came out like a year ago or so, and the PS4 will already be out. So now you're throwing it into a market that already has better alternatives.
Wait a minute. I thought they weren't going to launch in Japan.
They're launching it in Japan in 2014, like late 2014 is when it's coming to Asia.
So
That's
they changed
really
their
dumb.
mind. That's okay.
Well, this may have just been completely pulled out of somebody's ass, but I did read like relatively recently that Xbox 360 only has like 5% or less of the market share in Japan.
1% actually.
Is it 1%? That's crazy.
Pretty much. The original Xbox has sold more than the 360 has in Japan.
Well, the original Xbox actually had exclusives.
I remember I saw a list of the consoles that are pretty popular in Japan, and I remember the GameCube and the Dreamcast and the PSP and something else was way above the 360, and it's like number 12 if I remember the list right. It's way down at the list.
Well, the Dreamcast deserves to win some way.
That is true.
The 360 market share is so low in Japan that some developers just don't bother publishing the 360 versions. They'll publish them in the West and just won't bother in Japan.
Yeah, see, that's actually what happened with Arc System Works making BlazBlue, was that I don't believe any of the iterations of the franchise actually make appearances on the 360 in Japan at all. And I think all of the I'm pretty sure all the 360 versions of the game are all localized in the West.
I think so, yeah. Well, it's actually, you know what's kind of funny? Um, was when everyone was making a big deal about Final Fantasy coming to the 360 and how that was a big damn deal. But I
Oh
also
yeah.
remember way back in the N64 days, because Nintendo was too damn stubborn to get off cartridges, and while everyone else, I think Sony and I don't remember which Sega console. I think
Sega.
it was it the
Saturn.
Genesis, Saturn. They were going to disc form, and so everyone was just like, you know what, fuck this. This is cheaper to go on disc, and so they lost a lot of franchises because of that. So, to me, if certain titles becoming non-exclusive to certain consoles doesn't really mean anything to me anymore. It's just they're only going to go to where something is friendlier to their certain businesses model.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I would not be annoyed if this game was coming out exclusively for the PS4, but the fact that it had dropped its support of a previously supported platform in the same generation is kind of retarded, and I don't understand that.
Actually, this is a nice little segue into Sony's, because they were the second company to come out. One of the things that they said, and I'm kind of bummed they didn't go into it, was Gaikai and how their PS3 games were going to be streamed through there. So I'm kind of wondering if that's going to happen to the newest BlazBlue. It's going to eventually come to Gaikai, and you could still play it on the PS4. But what do you guys think of Gaikai? I think it's pretty neat.
You know, that might be kind of cool. One of the things that it probably wouldn't offer that I'd like, however, is I've been meaning to get like some kind of cool collector's edition type thing because I never had for any of the other games in the franchise. But I don't know if that's going to happen this time around. And I doubt that service would offer anything other than just the streamed game.
Well, when Xbox 360 started offering the old Xbox games and stuff, it only did the really, really popular ones. So I'm wondering if the Gaikai streaming service will only offer the really, really popular games everyone already has for the PS3. So I wonder if what will be the point after that.
It will probably be determined by how hard it is for them to emulate it.
Yeah, because each game is different.
PS3 games are really big. Like, you've got games like MGS4 and Uncharted 3, which fill up pretty much the whole Blu-ray disc. So I'm interested in, is the Gaikai service good enough that you can stream all these massive amounts of data to a PS4?
Yeah, that's true. They are pretty huge.
Yeah, they're pretty damn big. So I was that's why I was kind of bummed they just mentioned it in like their slides, their little slideshow. Towards the end, they're like, "Oh, by the way, we're still partnered with Gaikai." I mean, they kind of touched upon that in February. I believe that's when they had their little conference, but they didn't really say how or how many. Is it their whole entire PS3 catalog? Is it only certain titles? Because I would imagine you can, having the indie games that are already on PS3, something like Journey. I don't know if that's even part of the Gaikai streaming or if it's just something still in the PSN store.
I would imagine anything that's first party is going to be on there.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't have too much of an issue with them, with their whole idea of backwards compatibility if they have a huge price cut for the PS3 when the PS4 comes out. Because I think it would if they price cut the PS3. Let's say like this time next year the PS3 is like under $200, then I wouldn't have any complaints at all.
Well, how long did it take for the PS2 to drop below a reasonable price?
Like about
I
a
don't.
couple months after the PS3 come out, I'm pretty sure, but not by that much. It depended on which model you were going to get. The slim one got a huge price cut probably about a year after the PS3 had come out. But yeah, it will probably be a while to be quite honest.
Yeah, because I remember it wasn't very long until they came out with the new model of the PS2, and I actually was glad that they did because my original PS2, the that little fatty that I had forever, it finally died after a friend of mine dumped he dumped beer on it on accident after he tripped over
Oh
my coffee
wow.
table, so it fried. And I saw that the PS2 Slim is only $99. So I was like, hey, cool, and it's a lot slimmer. But I would imagine something
It's
like that would
tiny as
happen.
hell.
Yeah, it's super tiny.
It's so small, like it's crazy.
I still
Yeah,
have mine.
well, lucky you. So I would
Yeah.
just kind of imagine that the PS3 would probably have a slimmer model because I know Nintendo did that with the Wii, but that was kind of a stupid model and was only available in Canada if I remember right.
And it
Like only Canada? No wonder I never heard of it.
and it can't play GameCube games anymore either on the new mini one.
Yeah, that
What?
little red thing.
And it has no Wi-Fi either.
The main reason I own a Wii is so you can play GameCube games.
Not anymore, apparently.
Well, then just don't get the new one.
What I'm curious about is, because this year, and pretty much the last year of the PS3's life, you've got quite a few big PS3 exclusives coming out. If they're gonna essentially HDify them more and put them on the PS4.
Well, keep in mind, the PS2 had the same thing too. I mean, you had Shadow of the Colossus and God of War 2 that came out at the very end of the PS2. There was another one I'm totally
Didn't
blanking on.
Persona 4 come out after PS3 launched?
Yeah, yeah. So I would imagine that you have games like The Last of Us, or I'm blanking on the games right now, but pretty much any game that came out on the PS3 that was pretty huge or exclusive will probably, I don't know, get an HD remake because I think we're at the point now where it's kind of moot. But it might be like on a slam and deal on Gaikai. But then again, I don't really know what they're gonna do.
That's what I find hilarious. HD remakes of HD games. This is gonna be fun.
They'd probably just call them ports.
Probably, yeah. I mean, you can do
I would hope
HD
so.
ports with with like Metal Gear Solid and all of them. I mean, I have Sly Cooper, the collection, and I love that to bits. Um, the only HD remake that really pissed me the hell off was the Silent Hill one, but we don't have time for me to rant for an hour, so
Yeah.
Oh, I know about that one.
yeah, I remember there was like 3 threads about it, and I went in every single one and just bitched. And I think someone even in the bro chat told me I should probably calm down because I was not happy at all.
How do you make a game's visuals look worse on a piece of hardware that's so significantly more powerful than the last one?
To well, to briefly say what happened is Konami never gave them the full code. I don't know why, but they got broken code, and so they got bugs and all. And I have no idea how they engineered the HD remake, to be perfectly honest, because it's completely backwards to what
I,
everyone else has been doing.
I haven't been confident in Konami's ability to create games since Ninja Turtles in Time, so I it was a while ago.
Yeah, I haven't even played a Konami game in like the last, wow, 5 years.
The
I
last
can't even
Konami
remember.
game, the last Konami game I played, and I'm actually staring at it right now, is well, they published it, but it's Silent Hill Homecoming. That was the last one I played, and I haven't finished
How
it.
fitting.
Yeah, how fitting. And I didn't even finish it, to be perfectly honest with you. But anyways, back to Sony. What else in the press conference did you guys kind of like about it? Anything that they announced about the PS4 that kind of appealed to you, other than the price and no DRM, because that's obvious.
How about the giant nuke they dropped on Microsoft's face at point blank range?
That was funny.
That was pretty funny.
Jack Tretton is a boss.
That was so funny.
Can I talk about one thing? One thing I was actually kind of disappointed that they didn't even go into with the press conference was the recording software that they have that's going to be on the PS4. Because just like the Xbox One, it's going to have a native game recorder. And as a result, though, their HDMI ports on both the Xbox One and the PS4 are HDCP encrypted. So gaming capture cards like Elgato and the HD PVR and the Roxio card, they won't work on the PS4 or the Xbox One now.
I would assume the way that they're probably going to do it is that it's probably going to be recorded all on the PS4, and they're probably going to have a way to upload it straight from the PS4 onto your channel or Sony's YouTube channel or some platform that you could do it. I would assume that's how they would do it. But then again, they didn't really explain in greater detail, unless they said something back in February that I'm totally blanking on.
I mean, I think the reason. Go ahead.
Well, mainly in my case, sorry, Fappy, is because I just need a way to actually take the footage for there, because I don't just straight upload it. In my case, I actually have to put a lot of editing into it, and I know a lot of other people that have to do the same thing. I know that all of the consoles you can use a portable hard drive to extend how much space you have on it. So I'm wondering, is it possible that you can just pull it from the PS4's hard drive and then just put it in a competent editor? Because they didn't even reveal what kind of editor or anything they had in there. I know the Xbox One did, and that one, not going to talk about it.
Well, my guess is the reason why they didn't detail it at all is there could be two reasons. One, they're not completely sure themselves yet. And two, if we're going by what happened in the last press conference they did, people tore into Sony for talking about the share button. And like it is, the video editing and video recording aspect of the PS4 is so, at least in their message, was so tied to that share button that I think they just didn't want to talk about it at all, and they just wanted to focus on games primarily and things that they could get under Microsoft's skin for.
Yeah, the thing is, though, a lot of things that nobody's been talking about is that I think Sony at one point mentioned that whether you could record was up to the publisher. So that opens up a lot of issues, too, for people who want to capture. I mean, like, if you want to do a review or anything of a game and the publisher won't allow you to do it, then you're kind of stuck. And that's, if they don't allow the ability to capture on a separate device, or at least, like, grab, if they allow you to record on the PS4 itself and then just take it from there, then, well, what's the point, really? I mean, I'll just stick with my 360 and PS3 for the first little year or so.
Well, here's what I think. And I think this is kind of like an underlying thing with the new PS4, is if publishers do that and Sony and their first-party developers don't do that, it's kind of like the whole DRM thing. You can see who the asshole publishers are, and so they can get some serious backlash over restraining and constricting the consumer over basically an open platform. So I think if publishers did that, they would be incredibly stupid to do that.
There's also another problem.
Regardless of whether they're go ahead.
No, sorry, it's just because I do Let's Plays a lot of the time, so this affects me in a lot of ways. One of the things, though, is I remember they were saying how, you can publish it to YouTube and everything. YouTube's going to need to redo their copyright system then or something, because YouTube's copyright system is completely broken. I got 2 copyright claims claiming that I used music from Kingdom Hearts on a Kingdom Hearts video, claiming I used music from someone else, from a company that doesn't even own any rights at all to Kingdom Hearts, because I checked. And also, the parts of the video they flagged had no game audio at all or commentary. It was just blank, just silent.
Wow.
I think I would assume that Sony talked with YouTube and all those places, just saying, hey, is there something we can do? But then again, YouTube isn't kind of in trouble right now, I think. because you have a company like Nintendo coming in.
Yeah, their policies are really, really bad right now for that.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, you have like a company like Nintendo coming in and just saying, "Hey, if I see something that you did from a Let's Play, FYI, you'll get flagged." So at that point, it becomes, um, you know, YouTube's going to have to do something because, I mean, especially if you have companies like Microsoft and Sony having a share button and uploading it on YouTube. I mean, YouTube's going to have to do something.
And the thing too is, how easy will it be to monetize if it's going straight from the PS4 to YouTube? Does it just automatically claim it as Sony's?
Exactly. I honestly don't think that like any kind of integrated software they use for the editing in the PS4, I don't think it's going to be useful for anything beyond like glorified replay videos. Like think of for an example of what I'm talking about, just think of the video editors in like the later Halo games. Like I really don't think it's going to be much beyond that.
Which is kind of disappointing because Sony does know how to make proper editors because I have Sony Movie Studio Platinum.
And I mean, we might get surprised and really lucky, and they have, they will use one of their proprietary like video editing softwares inside the PS4. But at this point, it's just speculation, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll probably put out some kind of video or something, just saying something about, hey, this is what our share button is like. Probably when E3 is out and no one's really concerned about that anymore and they're getting closer to their launch, I would assume they would probably talk about that more, and probably Gaikai and a few of their other little things too that they kind of glossed over. So I would assume they would do it sometime in the near future, but probably not right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, they are not going to talk about anything that would put them in any kind of negative light right now, because they're just riding this tidal wave of, people hating Microsoft right now. They don't want to be let off the ride quite yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, Microsoft's doing them a solid, so, hey, free PR.
Exactly.
So, the last one, I didn't really watch it just because I wasn't quite sure where exactly to go watch it, is Nintendo. I mean, I watched some videos of their stuff and their and some of the press stuff that I read off of like Destructoid and of course the Escapist. I mean, what did you guys think of Nintendo? I mean, for me, it was just kind of I don't want to say I was disappointed, but I was kind of underwhelmed by what they kind of put out.
Well, unfortunately, I was in a conference call for 80% of the conference, but when I got out, thank God, as soon as I got out, the Super Smash Bros. One started, and that was the one I actually really wanted to see. And I did go back and watch some of the stuff, but I completely understand why Nintendo they didn't go with an official press conference, because they would have lost. I mean, they just don't have anything to really talk about. They just have some first-party titles, and while that's exciting and everything, they can't compete with two consoles coming out. Plus, they also don't have any games still, so they probably didn't want to talk about that.
Well, to be perfectly fair, they do have some third-party games coming out which practically are ports, but they lost one already. I mean, they're still getting it, but it's not exclusive to them anymore. It was Deus Ex Human Revolution. That's coming to every console now. I mean, I'll get it, but it kind of lost a allure of the Wii U to me just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, they still have Bayonetta 2, so
What I
there
find
we go.
interesting about the Wii U is they've got that touchpad control, and considering the big thing of E3 this year was tablets for everyone forever, I'm confused as to why more third parties aren't excited about literally having a tablet come with the console.
Less money?
I really don't understand it either. I mean, I don't actually like well, I haven't used the tablet controllers, but I just don't like touchscreens in general. Like, I have a smartphone and I hate it. But I don't know. That's a good point. Like, why is Microsoft pushing the smart glass thing so much?
Because they made a big deal of it last year. Remember, they took up like 20 minutes of their conference last year about the smart glass, and I completely forgot about it until their
Game of Thrones.
Until their
Game of Thrones.
Look, they made Windows 8 just for the tablet. They're gonna damn well use it.
God
That is
damn,
true.
don't remind me. Oh my
You gotta
god,
use this
it's really
somehow.
funny is I still have Windows 7 and my friend got a new laptop recently that has Windows 8 in it, and every single time he wants to show me something on his laptop, he's like, "All right, oh shit, fuck," and like the Windows 8 like stupid like window menu thing pops up and it's all colorful, and he's like, "God damn it, this happens every time."
Can I just say one thing about Windows 8? I practically pleaded with the IT guy at work not to get it. It was, it's. I don't understand Windows 8 at all. It's terrible. I mean, I'm okay with Windows 7, but 8 just makes me cry.
Oh, 7's pretty good. I like 7.
I love 7.
I'm on a Mac.
Yeah, me too. So
You
fuck
see-
them.
You see, here I will defend Microsoft in one point in Vent here. They make good software. I mean, some of it's overpriced, but Adobe outdoes them in price, so
Fair enough.
Yeah. They did have good games. I will say this about Microsoft. They had some exciting exclusives and stuff. And Sony didn't have as many good exclusive titles or games going on. Nintendo was pretty much second place in terms of that. But Microsoft did do something good, and that was bring us some games. And that was what everyone was hoping they would bring.
Yeah, but Rice kind of makes me a little worried just because I don't know. It just looks way too QT happy. They said it wasn't, but I don't know.
The exclusives they showed, they didn't show that much gameplay from them. And Rise, the big one they sort of did, looked as cutscene-y as all the cutscene exclusives they showed.
yeah.
Yeah.
That game looks like Batman Arkham Asylum, but with QTEs instead of actual combat.
Then you also have to keep in mind, people were talking about Project Spark. It also said that Project Spark was coming out for Windows 8 computers, so it's technically not exclusive.
Yeah, actually, I noticed a
Well,
lot of...
almost nothing stays on the consoles these days. It all eventually gets ported to the PC,
That's true.
Yeah,
mostly.
it looked like a few of the Xbox One exclusives were also just Windows exclusives, so I wouldn't really consider them... that's definitely not an Xbox exclusive in that case.
Well, and things too, they kept going on about how certain things were exclusive when they weren't. Like, I remember MGS5, Major Nelson tweeted, "Oh, MGS5 coming exclusive to the Xbox One," and then 5 minutes later, "Wait, no, it's not." And then whenever Titanfall...
If that had been true, though, they would have won.
Yeah.
They would have won
That is-
if that had been true.
I would have been depressed for a few days.
Really? I don't know about that.
People would have killed Kojima.
Well, here's the thing. That would be physically impossible, because if they made Metal Gear Solid exclusive to a Western exclusive console, I think Japan would nuke itself.
A Western exclusive console that isn't coming out in Japan until late 2014.
Exactly. Like, they would just... If they couldn't find and kill Kojima and drag him through the streets, they'd just bomb themselves and say, "We probably got him."
Then, like, Kingdom Hearts 3 and everything, that's actually getting ported over to the Xbox One as well.
Not surprised at all, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I'm not that surprised either.
Considering the budgets for...
Well, we all know it's still going to sell well, so yeah, they want to have that on as many
Although
possible sales avenues as possible.
I will say, probably because the other Kingdom Hearts have been on Sony platforms, I'm kind of curious to know how many people will buy. I mean, the people that are going to buy the Xbox One are going to get Kingdom Hearts 3, because JRPGs really don't do well, or haven't been doing well on Microsoft's platform. I mean, that's just my
Because they
observation.
don't exist.
Well,
There's
there's
like
some.
3 of them.
There's some, but they're kind of bad.
Lost Odyssey was pretty good.
What were you saying, Fargo?
I was saying, considering the budgets, I'm not surprised that Kingdom Hearts 3 and 15 are going to be on the Xbox One.
I'm not surprised
Yeah.
either, because they had a restructure since the old CEO stepped down and everything, because, even though they sold, didn't they sell like 3.6 million copies of Tomb Raider, and apparently they still said it was a failure or something?
I thought it
Yeah.
was 5.
So dumb.
And that will be the great tragedy. The big budgets of modern games are killing companies like that. It just...
Well, they came out... Oh, sorry.
Well, yeah, it doesn't help that you have companies like Capcom who have like 900 developers on one game, and you're like, whoa, where's all that money going, guys?
What about Legends 3, damn it?
Yeah. Trolled.
I think with this new generation, because we're getting so closer to graphics, I don't really see big production, like millions and millions of dollars going into a game being a thing anymore. Just because everything, like all the technology is pretty much the same. I would assume you would still get big ones like your Halo and um, another game I'm totally blanking on, but I don't really see big production titles still being a thing with this generation.
What I see happening is, because I remember when they did the Unreal 4 demo, there was this really long sort of video where they showed, oh, here's how we're making it easier for developers. I have a feeling we're going to see less sort of massive graphical leaps until more engines come out that are just easier to use and you can use a smaller team with them.
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. Because, I mean, we've definitely, if you look at just even the tech demos and stuff, a lot of the tech demos of the new stuff that came out in E3, they don't look that much different from tech demos you'd see at E3 2 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
they really don't. Some stuff looks better, yeah, but not by a large margin. And definitely not anything that had already been shown on that was a PC was capable of, 3 or 4 years ago.
Speaking of tech demos, I really had to laugh. I think it was at the Sony press conference where remember that creepy guy from their presser back in February? And now he had his own little trailer or whatever. Who else thought that was pretty hilarious?
Which one?
He was the one that was like a dark sorcerer, and at the very end he flubbed a line, and it was like a shoot.
Yeah, I love that. Just
I
like
kind of
would
want that
love-
to be a game.
I kind of do too.
I just realized we totally glossed over Nintendo.
I know.
Just like the Nintendo
For Nintendo.
Direct.
Dude, if Jeffers is listening to this, he'd probably suffer from a brain aneurysm by now.
Okay, well,
Well, having gone over Nintendo Direct with a couple of other people on another podcast, I'd say that there's one game that came out of there that really surprised me. X. Did anyone see that?
What?
That looks pretty cool.
the-
Honestly.
What is this?
It's called X, or I
isn't
think
it the
Project
new
X.
Xenoblade?
Isn't it, yeah, I think that's what it is.
No, it's not Xenoblade.
Oh, isn't it based in, like, the same world or something?
I'm actually not quite sure on that detail, but it looked so good. I mean, some of the creatures in there just blew my mind.
I mean, it's like,
Wasn't that the one with the mechs?
yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it's like Gundam meets Monster Hunter
Oh, okay. Then I know
meets
which one that
Godzilla.
is.
I don't know.
One thing I loved from the Direct was that a few hours after the Smash Bros. One, the villager has been painted as a mass serial killer psychopath.
Oh my god.
That was just great. I love that.
Dude, the
I've seen some of
villager
the best
and the
I will
Wii
kill you
Fit,
and store you on my shelves.
like the Wii Fit, like image macros and stuff I've seen already are so fucking hilarious. Where they just take basically like healthy fitness lines and they twist them in some terrible murderous way.
One of my favorite ones that I've seen was when the villager catches Mario in the net. It put on the side, "I will stuff you and put you in a museum right next to your brother."
That was my favorite. That was my favorite one out of the whole spring of them. That one probably made me laugh the hardest.
Yeah, I saw a random image of somebody photoshopping his face over the moon's face from Zelda. It was horrifying. Like his like
Somebody made him Johnny.
dead behind the, yeah, I saw that one. He's just got like this dead behind the eyes like horrifying smile. It's awful.
Have you guys seen the person? I forget what his YouTube name is. He basically took the Meet the Pyro trailer and tailored it to being Meet the Villager.
Oh god.
I don't think I've seen that one, but I know what you're talking about.
Actually, since we're on the subject really quick, does anybody have any anticipation for who they want to be in the next Super Smash Brothers, regardless as to whether or not you plan to get it? Nobody?
I'm thinking real quick.
Well, they've almost all been in the old games, so it's really hard to find any new Nintendo characters that have captivated as much, right? So, I mean, who saw the Wii Fit trainer coming?
Nobody.
Well, I could see them probably putting in like your me or something.
Yeah, I mean, my most played character in Mario Kart Wii was Jesus, so
I'm just going to be the minority and just say I don't really like Smash Brothers, so I have nothing.
It's all right. I'm not a fighting game guy either, so.
Well, I like fighting games, but I just don't. I played it on
It's
the
more of a party
N64.
game.
Yeah, I played it on the N64 and it was okay. I mean, I don't know. I love fighting games because Blaze Blue is probably one of my favorites, but Mortal Kombat is my absolute favorite. So it's just, I don't know. I'm probably just tainted by the goodness that is those two.
So my suggestions worked. You have been converted to the Blaze Blue, haven't you?
Well, to be fair, I don't know if the cabin is still there or not. There's this GameWorks not that far from, well, probably like 30 minutes away from me, that has cabinets of like fighting games, you know, like Street Fighter 4 or whatever, the Super Street Fighter 4, I think that's what the latest one is called. One of the Tekkens, and they had Blaze Blue, and I played on that one probably longer than any of the other ones that they had, so I liked it. Jin is my favorite character.
Oh my god. Have you played the story at all? Because Jin's a fucking psychopath, and it's hilarious.
Not yet. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I've just been doing arcade mode, so I've been having fun with that.
While we're still on the subject, maybe now since Bayonetta is exclusive to the Wii U, maybe they'll eventually add Bayonetta into the franchise.
Jesus
I've heard
Christ.
people mention that.
Personally, I would...
What? I love that game.
Well, here's the thing. I loved Bayonetta. I'm kind of torn how it's exclusive to the Wii U. Now, I don't know if it's going to stay exclusive. It probably will. I don't really know.
Probably will.
But
the only reason why the second one exists is because Nintendo gave them money for it.
Yeah, that's true. I'll probably eventually, because Wonderland 101 looks pretty good, and so did that X game. I think it's what Project X, whatever that's called. I mean, those look pretty good. So I'll probably get a Wii U and just play Bayonetta like crazy. I'm not really... This is going to sound stupid, but I don't care. But I'm not a really big fan of her new design, to be perfectly honest.
Or a haircut?
Yeah, it looks stupid.
Oh, I haven't gotten a good look at it.
I find it kind of nice.
Here's my question. So in the first one, her suit was her hair, and she had really long hair. Where's the hair coming from now? Because her hair is short.
Isn't it obvious?
Well, remember, it's magical hair, so...
She stopped
Doesn't really
shaving her
matter.
armpits.
I like all the safe answers. I like the safe answers from you, Fappy. I'd expected better from you.
Oh yeah, I know. You're gonna make. Yeah, you thought I was gonna make some bush monster references.
Yes.
Anyway, so.
So.
Wow.
So.
So moving on.
Anyway, so my it's about the
this
Wii
horrible
U.
image in my head right now.
So I will probably eventually get a Wii U because my girlfriend requires the HD remake of Wind Waker, so there isn't really a debate there.
I want that so badly.
Nintendo have this amazing...
Yeah, it's like one of her favorite games of all time.
Nintendo have this amazing ability.
Yeah, I haven't played a Zelda game.
What was that, Fargo?
Nintendo have this amazing ability where I'll watch their press conferences and be so cynical until something about Zelda comes out and I go back to being 9. I kind of need the Wind Waker HD.
Yeah, see, I think Nintendo actually, like, bets everything on that exact thing for everybody. They're like, all right, we're going to screw up big time in this press conference, but we will talk about one game that'll get everybody going ballistic and buy our console. It's just that's just how Nintendo fans work.
And for me, it's like, Wind Waker HD is still coming out. I'm like, I know, but my god!
I actually
Yeah,
I actually never grew up with Zelda, so that didn't really do anything for me. However, I do have a 3DS, and I have Ocarina of Time, and I did play that, and I haven't finished it, but I kind of enjoyed what I played so far.
Yeah, I was kind of a late bloomer in Zelda in the sense, not nearly as late as you, Fizz, but my first one was the original Ocarina
Okay,
of Time.
I have an excuse. It's called having an older brother that isn't into Zelda, so...
Well...
Yeah, well...
I didn't grow up.
I have a Link to the Past on my Game Boy Advance. I guess I should probably get to playing that. I haven't played a Zelda game all the way through before.
Well, that new, the new Link to the Past, whatever they're calling it for the 3DS, looks pretty good.
Okay, so what is that all about? Because they said it's not a sequel, and it's not something else.
It's Zelda. I don't know why people are even talking about it. Who gives a shit? It's Zelda. The timelines don't make any sense. the story doesn't matter. It's just all
They
about.
actually released one.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's the most convoluted thing ever.
Well, it's
Yeah,
it's fairly
It's almost as confusing as Sonic.
it's fairly straightforward, but they lied about there being a third timeline.
I thought. Wait, really? I thought there were three
Well,
timelines.
what happened is they released the official timeline, and the third timeline was a timeline that nobody would have expected to be a third timeline.
Yeah. Well, isn't it? Isn't the third timeline like one that you never actually play through?
Yeah.
It's like in Ocarina of Time.
It's Link Fails.
It's like when. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so it's like the future timeline that you. I don't. It's fucking confusing.
Why don't we just all treat it like the Final Fantasy universe? I never got the hubbub about the timeline stuff.
It's because fans of things just like to talk about it a lot, and that's one
They
of the
wanna
things
make
that comes
the
Because
up.
you
sequence.
can imagine how convoluted the timeline would be if everyone tried to connect every Final Fantasy together.
Well-
that would just ruin
Well, those are
everybody.
different worlds.
The Zelda timeline.
Yeah, I think they are.
The Zelda games make explicit references to previous ones, like the Wind Waker has. The whole opening of Wind Waker is about Ocarina of Time, essentially.
Yeah, that's definitely true. They make some, and then you've got Shigeru Miyamoto coming out and saying insane shit that makes it even more
Link to the
confusing.
Past is the
like
last
half
game.
the
Then
time.
why is Past in the title?
Isn't hasn't it been confirmed that Zelda 2 is the last game in at least one of the timelines?
I think so. Yeah, Skyward Sword is the first.
Zelda 2's one of the last ones in one of the timelines. I think Twilight Princess is another one that's one of the last ones in one of the timelines, and I forget which one was the third timelines.
I'm one of the few people on the Escapist that actually like Twilight Princess a lot.
I love Twilight Princess.
I thought everyone loved that game.
I see it getting bashed all the time. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, it definitely had issues. Yeah, I'm not going to argue that, but it had some really awesome things in it too. Midna's theme is one of my favorite Zelda songs.
I'm eventually going to get into the Legend of Zelda series, so maybe that would be a good place to start.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I always like Fizz. I didn't grow up with Legend of Zelda. I didn't grow up with Nintendo. I grew up with Sega, for Pete's sakes.
What?
I did both. If you did both and you liked Sonic and Mario, you're a better person.
Well, no,
Just
I like
I'm
Sonic
showing
and
my age.
Mario.
I was too young for Sega.
Well, I did not recently, but I did buy an NES about a year ago. It's been that long now. But I'm actually looking at it. I do have another Zelda game. It's not the first one, it's Zelda 2, The Adventure
oh,
of Link.
God.
So,
Yeah.
So I
Zelda
do
2's,
have that one.
Zelda 2 is not
why?
a Zelda game.
well, you know what? Damn it, it was $3. And it was nice and shiny.
Oh, there's a reason for that.
Zelda 2 is like a
Shiny cartridge.
Zelda 2 is like a weird
No.
side-scroller.
Wait, here's the thing though. At the place that I bought it, all the old games are super cheap. Like I bought Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for $7. So it's just all cheap.
Was at the non-Ninja Turtles arcade? Was that just the one that's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, that's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and
There's a reason that one was cheap.
Yeah, there's a reason why that
The
one was
angry
cheap.
game nerd. Yeah.
see,
That
well,
game has good music, and that's about as far as it goes.
although I will say the original Final Fantasy I bought for $12, and I got Dr. Mario for $4.
Oh wow.
So
Do they sell PS1
You know,
games
it's
at that
amazing how
store?
well the first one holds up.
The first, which one?
The Final Fantasy 1. Because I played it, and there's something primeval about it that still
The
works.
big problem with the original Final Fantasy is the fact that if you like kill an enemy with one party member, the rest of your party members get confused and don't know what to do for a turn.
that's kind of funny.
Yeah, but that's the same thing in Golden Sun, so I didn't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, but here's the thing: I didn't play Final Fantasy until 13. So that was my first Final Fantasy
Wow.
game.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm
My
totally
first was
late.
7.
Well, again,
I
my
s-
brother never was into Final Fantasy. He was into like Mario and Mega Man, and I think some other
Yeah.
games. So,
It's actually funny talking about like cheap games. One of the only good old games that you will find super cheap everywhere you look is Sonic 2, because for whatever reason, Sega made like 6 million copies of that game,
I have like 5
and
God.
there's
cartridges
so
of
many in
it.
circulation. Do what?
I have like 5 cartridges of Sonic 2 on my Genesis.
Yeah, it's like I don't know why they made so many. It's so easy to find that game. It's probably the easiest Genesis game
Well-
to find by far.
to be fair, it was a sequel to one of their most successful games.
Yeah, I think Sonic 2 probably was at least top 3 most successful Genesis games, if not Sega games, honestly.
So, now that we're done talking about those three, what about EA and Ubisoft as a whole? What do you say?
Battlefront!
Ubisoft failed me because they didn't show Beyond Good and Evil 2. And therefore, I hate them.
Damn right they didn't.
For the rest of my life, I now have a vendetta.
Ubisoft failed me because they're Ubisoft.
I'm probably one of the very few fans that liked Beyond Good and Evil that wasn't surprised that it wasn't announced or even talked about, because I don't know what their problem is, because they've been teasing the shit out of that game for years now, and to me it's almost cruel.
Even if they did like just a Battlefront
That'd be
trailer,
funny. It'd be really funny if they haven't even started working
bastards.
on it yet.
That's my probably thought. That's what I think too. They're just creating these nice little. The last video thing that we saw was I'm blanking on the pig's name now.
Paige.
Damn it. Yes, we just saw a picture of a video of him in a lawn chair. That was it. I think that was like 30 seconds long.
All they need to do is just do what EA did with Battlefront, have a 20-second video going Beyond Good and Evil 2, and fine, done. It's still coming. Everyone can relax. But no.
Yeah, and people just list a developer, and people would lose their fucking minds. And the thing about Battlefront is I think a lot of people would be a lot more skeptical about this Battlefront announcement if it was made before LucasArts went under, because I think a lot of people got renewed faith in Battlefront existing and being good once LucasArts no longer existed.
And DICE were working on it.
But at the same time, it's got EA.
But it's got DICE.
Dude, I would pick...
Yeah, but you know what, DICE? Can you imagine the sound design that'll go into Battlefront? That alone is just making me go
I know a lot of people
oh,
I was talking to were DICE. DICE, I don't know if they can do it. And they watched the Battlefield 4 thing with the skyscraper at the end. And they was like, fuck yeah, DICE, Battlefront, I'm in.
Yeah, see, EA, yes. I think we can all agree EA can go suck a fatty. But EA
Marriage
is
too.
not... EA will never be as evil as LucasArts was.
So true.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
So we can take solace in that.
EA are at least competent, which LucasArts were not.
Yeah, see, the thing about EA is, okay, they're competent in some things. They're not competent in RPGs, but they are competent with, I would say, most shooterish type games, which Battlefront, I'm hoping isn't just a standard FPS. I hope it feels like a Battlefront game. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I know. I played the first one and I was like, oh yes, if they could do this in the next generation, Battlefront will kick everyone's ass.
Well, actually, it's 2 generations later. Is Battlefront
Well,
1
no,
and 2?
I was talking about that
Oh,
experience
yeah,
in this generation.
As long as you
I
can
mean,
still... If you can still knock Darth Vader off of the platforms in Cloud City with grenades, I'll be happy. That's all I
Best thing
want.
ever.
I will say about EA's is I was actually kind of shocked about Mirror's Edge 2, even though they teased the hell out of it and it being a Microsoft exclusive, which is laughable. But I'm kind of excited, even though it's a prequel. I think that's what they said they're going to make it. But I'm still pretty excited for it. I enjoyed the first one.
So it's not an exclusive?
No.
Okay. See, I never played the first one, but it does look pretty interesting.
I don't think it's a prequel. I think it's a full reboot.
Is it?
Yeah, which is sort of impressive.
Because they never were... Okay, because they weren't really...
Then why add a 2 to the end?
They didn't.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. They weren't really clear about the whole thing. Well, they did originally.
Did they? I don't think they did.
Did they get rid of it?
I think they did.
Yeah, it was called Mirror's Edge 2. Mirror's Edge 2. And then it was what is this? What is this? I don't know what this is.
Huh.
I am going to watch the trailer now.
Are they treating it like Jet Set Radio?
I hope not.
Yeah,
I don't
Future
know.
is not as good as the first Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
The official Mirror's Edge reveal trailer just has the logo at the end. There's no Mirror's Edge 2.
Well, in the beginning, they kept saying it was Mirror's Edge 2, but they never really said what it was. I mean, they said that it was going to be a second one, but they never said. So I think it was probably just everyone assuming it was going to be a sequel, which I'm still kind of hoping, because they kind of left it off at an interesting point. I mean, not to spoil it for anybody, but I think they could have done interesting things for it.
Yeah, yeah. So, was anyone else excited for Battlefield
Yep.
4?
I was la- I was laughing at
Oh,
the
yeah, that
Xbox.
skyscraper.
I was laughing at the Xbox One reveal how it froze.
And how it had a backspace,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
funny
and how it
as
had a
hell.
backspace key in the top right-hand corner because it totally was running on Xbox, guys. Totally.
Speaking of that,
Yeah,
it's
that didn't bother me so much, though.
totally unrelated, but it made me laugh. Uh, I was in Vegas like 2 weeks ago, and I was at Caesar's Palace, and like I was just walking around their shops, and like at the Nike store, there's this giant advertisement, like a basically a giant billboard, but at the very bottom, if you look very closely at the very edge, you could see the Microsoft little update thing pop up and just telling them to update their software. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh man. Now back
Oh, yeah.
back in my ancient WoW days, I could not tell you how many times people would like drop out of raid spontaneously, come back 10 minutes later and be like, Windows update, fuck my life. Windows had its own way of just fucking you over. Just because you had something, you were in a program and you couldn't see the update, and it was like, by the way, I'm whispering in your ear very quietly, and I'm also invisible, but I'm going to shut down in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that was a big problem. But I was like, when the Battlefield 4 stuff and they were like jumping off the skyscraper and it collapsed, the people started clapping.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like clapping too. I was like, yes, this is what we need.
So, was that multiplayer
Yeah.
gameplay, or was that
It was
campaign?
multiplayer.
That was multiplayer?
That was multiplayer.
Okay. Because, like, I remember way back, I think probably I was in high school or something, but it was either Battlefront 2, or not, I mean, Battlefield 2 or Battlefield whatever, it was some subtitle.
Bad company.
It was probably Bad Company. It had, like, this, a huge map with tons and tons of players, and you had people who could, like, call in, like, all sorts of different supply drops and all this other crap. And I thought that was really cool, and I never played Battlefront or Battlefield 3, but did it lose some of that? And are they planning to bring that kind of scale back in 4? Because that's the impression I got.
Yeah, they're planning on bringing all the like they're planning bringing back Commander mode. They're bringing back a lot of stuff that they couldn't include in the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions because of memory requirements. So they're bringing back 64-man servers for consoles. I think that's kind of the gray area.
I
They
mean,
might,
like, because wasn't that Battlefield's thing? I didn't understand why why they made so many Call of Duty like changes.
Well,
because it had a lot of its own unique stuff going on,
well,
didn't it?
yeah, but a lot of it was awkward. I mean, you had some of the stuff that it just was hard to adjust to. When I switched from COD to Battlefield 3, it took me a month before I was able to play anything close to competently. It was bad. So Battlefield 3 has a huge learning curve compared
well,
to COD.
the big thing they removed from Battlefield 2 through the games was Commander mode. Apart from that, the general sort of massive maps, teamwork, and generally all these like sort of little things that you never have to do in COD have all still been there. But Commander mode, I think, is the big thing that they're trying to bring back, which is basically where one person will take control and not be in the game, and can look at the whole map and drop bombs and various awesome things.
Yeah, see, that's pretty awesome. That really sucks that the third one didn't have that, but I haven't played an FPS seriously since 2007, so it's been a while.
Well, if you're looking for one, BF3 is actually pretty decent now. Now they have
Oh,
all the
yeah.
patches out.
The other thing I like about the Battlefield 4 trailer is I think the building destruction is one of the few things I saw at E3 that really felt next gen. Like, they showed games that were more pretty, but seeing a whole building come down was one of those big moments.
Yeah, but isn't that part of Frostbite engine from EA? Because they kind of had that in Battlefield 3, if I remember right.
Yeah, but not to that scale.
Yeah, but it really tanked the frame rate when they added that because of the 360's aging
And
hardware
it
and all
wasn't
that.
really to that scale. It was
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of quite like small buildings and walls and stuff. You could never total the whole building.
Oh, so they
This
just
is actually
retooled the engine then. So, okay, that was just my wondering because I know they had it for previous EA games, so I was just kind of wondering why that was such a big deal. So, I never saw the trailer, so I didn't know what was the big deal.
this is actually because we're talking about the CryEngine or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah,
Crytek
they
engine? Is that what?
have.
This is a good segue for the new Dragon Age, actually. because they're supposed to be using that engine.
I'm
And
excited.
all they released. See,
I thought they were using Frostbite.
Yeah, they're using
I'm not
Frostbite, I think.
Frostbite. That's right. Okay, never mind. But anyway, they. I am not really. I'm cautiously cautious about that game. Let's put it this way,
That's fair.
because
Cautiously optimistic.
I'm not really optimistic. I want to be optimistic.
Optimistically pessimistic, then.
Yeah. I mean, it's like they have obviously this bad recent history going against them, but they also have, you know, a 3 or 4 year dev cycle. Thank God. Thank God they're putting the time in that they need for that game. And I really loved how the only two returning characters you saw in the teaser were two of the only characters that people like universally like. Like, Varric was the only good character from the second game, period. I hated everybody else in the game, and I was like, good, they picked him for the trailer.
The one thing that the dev cycle is the big thing because the last two Bioware games, Mass Effect 3 and Dragon Age 2, I'm pretty sure all of their problems can be traced back to the fact that they had stupidly short dev cycles.
Absolutely, I agree completely. And Dragon Age 2 is way worse. They had like less than a year, or at least that's rumored, but that's crazy.
Yeah, and then Mass Effect 3 was they wanted it out a year and a half after Mass Effect 2 for like a 30-hour RPG.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that. I mean, I haven't played the Mass Effect series yet, but when I heard like what the cycle was, I thought that was a little too short for the kind of story, ambitious story anyways, that they were kind of trying to tell. So it's just kind of like, I don't know what you guys are doing.
Well, when you play the game, there are corners that you can see that were cut. Some of the animations, art design.
Like the ending?
Yeah.
Let's
We
not
won't
talk
get
about
into
the
that.
end. Yeah, let's not get into that because we could talk for hours. But there were corners cut, and I hope next gen we'll see games be given the attention they deserve by their developers. But this generation was really, really bad for short development cycles, completely destroying games.
Yeah, and it was weird because it only really happened in the second half of the console gen, because if you look at Dragon Age Origins, that game had like 5 years in development or something like that.
And the thing is, I think
It was a really long time.
some of these budget problems are coming from the fact that these games have such short dev cycles for hardware that people are still trying to get used to. I mean, the cell processor for the PS3 is still a nightmare for most developers. So you give them 2 years to make these 12-hour games with high-res textures and all this lighting, and they just can't do it, and they can't do it well.
Oh man. Skyrim on the PS3. Case in point.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, actually, that's a nice little segue into Black Flag, the Assassin's Creed game. I'm cautiously I'm just very cautious about that game, just because AC3 just put a bad taste in my mouth. It was
I know, right?
boring, and I didn't like Connor. He was a dick. There was hardly any free running. I basically did all my free running on the ground, and to me that's just a sin in an Assassin's Creed game. But with Black Flag, it looks actually not that bad. However, I'm not really sure if they're going back to form like they said they are, even though some of the things that they showed in that demo, it kind of looks like, I mean, you get like the sneaking back, you get the double assassinations back. I'm not really sure how the ship part's going to work, just because the whole upgrade thing, and that's just to me a nightmare, because I hated it in Assassin's Creed and to a certain extent in Brotherhood too. That was not my favorite part in the whole game. So I'm just kind of curious what you guys think about it.
Well, as long as Connor or the new character doesn't control like butter on a stick again, then maybe the game will be fine. But the major issues I had with AC3 were its controls, its story. It was just a mess. I really hated playing through that game for my review.
I like to see that Assassin's Creed 4 appears to be just as stable as Assassin's Creed 3 was.
I've stopped playing.
I'd like to see it not come out, because I'm one of those people that I would have vastly preferred for the series to come out every installment of Assassin's Creed to come out, every 3 years, and for the second game not to have like 3 chapters to it. And like, honestly, I I played the first one and I played the beginning of the second one, and I was like, they improved it, yeah, but I can only take the same gameplay so much between different installments of the same franchise. You know what I mean?
That's kind of fair. I mean, 2 is my favorite. Um, but I think in the third one with the controls, it was terrible. They completely remapped how everything worked, and I didn't like that at all. And the fact that chasing that one guy through the fucking shipyard was a massive pain in the ass, and I think I failed that at least 10 times because Connor went in a direction that
Yeah.
he went that I didn't want him to go. Such bullshit. So I'm just kind of wondering.
I failed jumping off a plank on that.
Yes.
It was hilarious.
I failed it too. It was so dumb.
What I'm curious about is not to obviously spoil it too much, but the ending of Assassin's Creed 3, for it now to seem to be going back in time, seems like a really weird choice. They haven't shown where they're going with it.
It was such a cop-out.
It sucked.
It was such a cop-out. I hated it. I hated the ending. It was so dumb.
I honestly think that the Assassin's Creed game stories would be so much better if they got rid of the framing story entirely. If it just never existed and it was just different stories about the same family bloodline of assassins, I think it would be a far more compelling story.
Yeah.
I think the framing story is fine in terms of the idea of it, because otherwise it would be very complicated to sort of condense all this Templar assassin stuff. The problem is that the writing for it is atrocious.
Yeah, it comes off as like a History Channel special about UFOs or something.
To be fair, Assassin's Creed has more history than the History Channel.
That is true.
That's true. The History Channel's all about trucking and shit now.
Yeah.
And conspiracy theories.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you see the
exactly.
framing story in Assassin's Creed. I mean, when you're talking about stuff like immersion, I mean, when you have all these icons and stuff and all these glowing outlines, all this glitches and stuff in the game, I think if you didn't have that framing story, then yeah, you'd have a tough time immersing yourself in that world because you'd be
Well,
wondering, why the hell is this stuff happening?
Well, they could have just used different, aesthetics to how they did stuff. Because look at Elder Scrolls games. With the exception of the health bars and stuff, everything looks authentically, especially in Morrowind, everything looks authentically within its own world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the journal looks like a journal that somebody would have there.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with a lot of games nowadays. It seems like they try to immerse you with all this stuff, but then when you see, like, this was the problem in the Assassin's Creed series. I stopped playing after Assassin's Creed 2 because I couldn't afford the other ones, and I didn't like to see where it was going. But the more and more I saw about it, with all the collectibles that you had to get, everything just floating around and everything, it's like, that kind of breaks it.
I think the HUD in Assassin's Creed 3 for me was pointless. I thought it was stupid. A lot of it didn't. There was no point to it because you didn't, like the collectibles. Why would I want to do that? They gave no incentive to go after anything, especially like the hunting. Yeah, that's a neat little thing, but I thought it was just stupid.
Does anybody else have a problem or is just kind of bothered by the fact that Watch Dogs is using basically the exact same aesthetics and UI and stuff as the Assassin's Creed games?
I was about to ask that. I'm really concerned if Watch Dogs is gonna have that level of bullshit in it, because if it does, well, I laugh at people who say Assassin's Creed 3 is one of the best games in 2012. I laugh at them because it's not
what?
true. And if
What?
Watch Dogs has made the same issues, then
Who the hell said that?
if Watch Dogs has made a lot of people I talked to, and a lot of comments in my review of Assassin's Creed 3, there's like, dude, it's like the best game of the year. But if Watch Dogs has a lot of the same issues, then I will seriously rip it apart. I have no patience for stuff
It was
like
a problem
that.
I had with Far Cry 3 where so much of the design just seemed like ripped from the Assassin's Creed series, which was just climb this tower to make more things appear on the map, and I'm worried that that's sort of Ubisoft Montreal's new thing, where they have all these different games, all these different settings, and technically the gameplay is different, but the design is so similar.
Jump into this hay barrel. It's the thing about the new Tomb Raider, because it kind of falls in that a little bit, is I think that it definitely, I share some of the criticisms that other people have said about it being too actiony and having too much Uncharted stuff in it. But I still felt like Tomb Raider still had its own identity, at least, And I don't know if Watch Dogs will get to that level of copying other things but also having its own identity, or just be this game about a modern Assassin's Creed dude running around with cell phones.
I will say this. I think everyone can agree that it's just as long as any Ubisoft game with the credits isn't 20 minutes long. I think that's just a win in our book.
Oh man, talk about long credits. Dragon Age Origins, Jesus Christ. They loop the same 2 songs twice each, and it lasts like 25 minutes.
Let me just point out.
Did you guys sit through the? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, with the Assassin's Creed 3 credits, after 10 minutes, I got up, went to the bathroom, threw some laundry in, and got myself a drink and came back, and it was still going. I thought that was ridiculous.
Jesus Christ.
The Halo Combat Evolved HD credits were so long. I think I recorded all of it, and I just left the room. 45 minutes later, I came in and finally just started getting the bottom text. It was
Oh
awful.
my god, that's ridiculous.
Did it have the original dev team credits on there too, or something?
Yeah, it did, which was hilarious.
I can't think of any games that I've played that really had just giant, huge amounts of credits. I mean, even a lot of the JRPGs like Kingdom Hearts and everything, they don't go on forever. Like, I think the most that they went on for was like 7 minutes. And I have the new HD remake for them, and it's not that long.
I think it's getting worse too because devs seem to be obsessed with putting things at the end of the credits. So for every game, like, okay, now you need to watch all of these. And then I get the end and there isn't something.
Yeah.
I think the saving grace, speaking of JRPGs, they're kind of backwards. Because when I played Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2, I counted how long it took for me to actually do something, and it was like 15 minutes or whatever. But the credits were super short. They were like 5 minutes long. It's like, why can't they just flip this? This is stupid.
Yeah, that's sort of how the case is. I mean, that's usually the case with a lot of Square Enix stuff nowadays, is that they put a lot of time in the credits and then have cutscenes and everything hog up all the glory.
I don't think they have a candle to Kojima, so let's be fair about this.
That is true.
Yeah.
Hideo Kojima, as Yahtzee has said, Hideo Kojima could run for presidency in the afternoon, and by the end of the night, he could probably be president of the whole goddamn universe.
And not say a goddamn thing.
That's what interests me about MGS.
Indeed.
Well, to be fair, Final Fantasy, the series, like, what do you expect? You're not expecting, like, real, like, RPG, Western RPG kind of stuff. You're expecting those cutscenes and stuff to be there, so they have to look nice, or else what are you going to do?
True, but I mean more like stuff where it's like, okay, you're doing this impractical stuff that you can't even do when you have control with it. That's where I kind of have it like, okay, be nice if I could do that in the actual battlefield. I can't?
Well,
Okay.
well, to be fair, Devil May Cry is guilty of that too, so.
That is true, but Devil May Cry...
Max Payne 3.
Yeah, Devil May Cry is pretty guilty of that.
Mass Effect's guilty of the opposite of that. I can use biotics, but in cutscenes I can't.
That's kind of, speaking on the cutscenes thing, that's what I'm interested about in MGS5, is that since it's open world, are they going to get around the problem like, yes, Kojima, you can still have your hour-long cutscene, but now that it's open world, you can go off and do some stealth stuff for the hell of it.
I want to know if these cutscenes are still written like Escape from New York was written by a 5-year-old.
Metal Gear.
Because, I mean, like, I was totally on board the entire trailer until they showed the sniper chicken. I was like, all right, I'm checking out. I'm done. They just ruined the whole trailer for me.
I'm like, oh,
That was seriously weird.
I was expecting Kurt Russell to come out from, like, the side of the screen, and, like, I don't know what I was expecting, really. It was just...
Yeah, that was really
done.
weird. I didn't know what the hell was going on when that happened.
Have any of you
I
guys seen
saw
like,
her, I'm like, why are you dressed like that?
have any of you guys seen like the 9-minute extended director's cut trailer, which is the most horrifically violent thing I've ever seen?
No.
Of course, there's a director's cut.
Yeah,
The first 4 minutes are a woman tied to a chair getting electric rods on her chest, someone getting waterboarded,
What?
someone getting waterboarded, then shot
Holy
shot in
shit.
the back, then a young woman having her stomach rooted through looking for a bomb.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I think we could safely say this is going to be a weird game to
Frankly,
play through.
my hope for MGS5 is simply I want Kiefer Sutherland to say Metal Gear as much as humanly possible in the most confused.
He also needs to say damn and damn it like 6 million times.
Oh, that won't be hard.
Yeah, I hope at least somebody on this chat knows what I'm referencing.
I'm thinking that this game suddenly has such a focus on torture because they have Kiefer Sutherland.
He's got so much experience doing it at this point. They also need to have a character named Chloe, because nobody nobody on Earth can say the name Chloe as angrily as Keith or
And
Sutherland
she has to be the
can.
most useless character in video game history.
And don't forget Muffin. He has said, I don't have you do you guys remember that video where he was it was like a 24 thing, but he was looking for like breakfast food or something like that? Do you guys remember that?
God. No.
I gotta find it again, but it was the funniest damn thing ever. He was like, look, oh, it's for muffins. It was like an advertisement for like this muffin or whatever, or cupcake. I'm sorry, cupcake. It was ridiculous. You guys could look for it.
Keith or Sutherland was the original Dark Knight Batman. Let's put it that way. You know, he was looking for the bomb.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant he was
what I
literally...
always find.
No. If I will be totally sold on this game if there's a character named Michael and he's interrogating him and he's like, "What's wrong, Michael?"
Oh god, that was a weird
That
line.
was a creepy ass laugh.
What the hell was that?
Make sure you edit that out, Toaster. Thank you.
I think Keith Sutherland just has too much like acting baggage to be brought into this role. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm still just not... I'm just confused as to why they felt the need that David Hayter just couldn't do it anymore. Is this like Kojima's ongoing obsession with Hollywood? Someone's like, I've got a Hollywood actor for you. And he was like, yes, I must have him.
Well, in
because that's how-
Japan,
Well, they could have gone with Christian Bale.
Why not Kurt Russell? Just go all the way. Go full circle.
Kurt Russell's
Get
a bit
Kurt
too
Russell
old.
for Snake.
Where's the bomb?
Where's the Metal Gear?
I mean, like, literally, the character Snake is based off of Kurt Russell. So, I mean, like, it makes so much sense.
yeah, but that's really how it is. It's sort of a Japanese thing. In Japan, for some odd reason, like, this is the case whenever they have, like, games over there and they don't really, like, Japanese dub them or anything. They'll keep, like, the American voice actors because they're famous. They do that for all the Final Fantasy International games. They keep the English voice acting and just put Japanese text over it, and they do it for all the Kingdom Hearts Final Mixes.
That's so weird.
I don't think they do that,
the
because I remember
hell?
when Final Fantasy 13 came out, there was like the Japanese cast list, which was like this really famous Japanese pop singer and a whole bunch of like really big people in Japan. And while I liked the voice acting in 13,
Well, you're missing the point that they're famous
talking about
too. So
I'm talking
that's
about
why
international
it's like they have this whole
versions of
celebrity
it.
culture thing.
all right, okay, I got you. Sorry.
There wasn't an international one of 13. There was one for Final Fantasy 7 to 12, and they kept all their English voice actors because I have a bunch of those. And then for all the Kingdom Hearts Final Mix games, they use all of the American voice actors that just put Japanese subtitles and Japanese text.
All I know is if Japan had a soul, they would go back and edit every single episode of the Japanese like language version of the Dragon Ball Z series and replace Goku's awful voice acting with Sean Schemmel.
I found out that Sean Schmel actually was the voice of Black Doom in Shadow the Hedgehog.
I never played that game for good reason.
Yeah, when I found that out, I was like, what? Because I was doing it with my friends, and I'm like, who is it that voiced Black Doom? Sean Schmel. What?
Yeah. It's just like finding out Steve Blum is everybody. You're like, he's Grunt, he's Ogren. Nobody cares about Ogren. Why is he Ogren?
It's like finding out that,
Although now he's getting replaced.
it's like finding out that Neil Flynn is the plumber from the from the first 3 Ratchet and Clank games.
Was that
It's
part
like
of it?
finding out that Jennifer Hale has literally been in every single sci-fi game from the past year in some way.
Yeah, that's true. She's also
Yeah.
been in a lot of superheroes.
Although Troy Baker is now taking the title of lead protagonist in everything.
God almighty, don't get me started on him.
Okay, I finished The Last of Us over the weekend, and it doesn't sound like him at all. I was actually really impressed.
Okay, so the whole Troy Baker thing, I saw a video. I didn't play it, but in the Silent Hill collection, have any of you guys played Catherine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, so every time, because he voices James, every time he yells, I hear Vincent.
Wait a minute. Okay, did Troy Baker do kanji in Persona 4?
Yep.
Okay, now I know who we're talking about. Yeah. I do hear him everywhere, actually. That's kind of weird.
He was also in Bioshock Infinite, which I will say he actually did a pretty good job in that one, because he didn't annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah,
Who was he in that one?
Booker.
He was Booker.
He was Booker?
Oh.
See, the funny thing about like JRPGs is a lot of times when they're localized, the voice acting sucks ass. But The Persona games, from the ones I've only played 3 and 4, the voice acting is actually really good in those two.
Donald
Troy
and
Baker does a
Goofy's
really good job as
Japanese
Kanji.
voices hurt my brain. I'm having to do a Let's Play of Kingdom Hearts Final Mix
I don't-
HD. They're terrible.
Goofy in Japanese.
They are terrible. It. Oh.
I can't even imagine Goofy in Japanese.
I will send you a video showing you just how they sound. It will make you cry. Okay?
Send me that too. Send me that too.
Has anybody seen the Japanese trailer for Adventure Time?
No, I kind of want to see this now.
Dude, you need to hear Lumpy Space Princess in Japanese. It's like incredible. Like they somehow managed to make her sound more like a dude in Japanese.
I'm not surprised with that in the slightest. I'm actually going to see this right now.
But yeah, so Fizz, what else do we want to go over with the E3 stuff?
Yeah, I was trying to think of a segue and this isn't working. So, what games are you guys excited for that has been seen? Personally, I'm not a really big FPS player just because they don't appeal to me, but
Yeah.
Destiny looks super fun.
Yeah, Destiny is probably one of my most anticipated games for next gen. Yeah, I actually, the strange thing is I actually don't really like Borderlands that much, and this is basically what that is, but for some reason this looks so much more interesting to me than Borderlands does. I can't really say what it is.
Maybe it's the better graphics.
No, I've never been one. I mean, I don't really mind Borderlands' aesthetic at all. It just is boring to me for some reason. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you do have to pick up every single object in that game, so yeah.
Hey, now. Be nice. I love that game.
It can be fun.
I love it too, but it's hard for me. It makes it hard for me to love
It's
it.
very hard when you have OCD.
Yeah. But yeah, there's something about Destiny. I can't put my finger on it, but it looks really cool for some reason.
To
I
me, the
guess.
shooting looks a lot better than Borderlands.
Yeah, that's actually one of my main issues with Borderlands is it just feels very repetitive. Like the gunplay is, it's at least in my opinion, it's subpar, and the powers aren't that fun. It just felt like every fight was the same fight over and over again to me.
So what about Nero? What are you excited?
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm sorry. What are you excited for, Nero?
Well, obviously Kingdom Hearts, because, okay, when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, yeah, I'm just glad that we're finally going to get, hopefully, some closure with that. But, like Fappy was saying, Destiny looked pretty interesting, and like you, Fizz, I'm, like, probably the least biggest fan when it comes to shooters out there. And so Destiny actually looked like it was going to be really good. I'm also interested to see about Infamous Second Son, because I'm glad that they're keeping Cole McGrath actually dead in that.
I don't really know about that because, I don't know. Have you guys played it, and do you mind me spoiling one of the endings?
I don't
I
care.
played it.
Go for it.
Okay, so here's the thing. They can do one of two things. They can either retcon the whole entire thing, or for Infamous Second Son to work, they would have to go off of the second and the bad ending, I'm sorry, where Cole is still alive and he didn't kill off all the conduits. So conduits are still a thing because the plague is still a thing. And the good ending wouldn't work because Cole had to sacrifice himself, and he also had to basically kill all the conduits that eventually popped up. So I probably would have think they would go off the bad ending, or they would have to retcon the whole thing. That's just what I think.
They've actually...
Or they can make the lore even more complicated and do what they did in Daggerfall and said they both happened.
Probably. They've actually
And then everybody's
said...
minds would explode.
Sucker Punch has said, though, that they took surveys and everything on which ending people chose more, and that's why they decided that they're going with the good ending, because they still had some things from the first Infamous that weren't really fully explained, that just sort of dropped off and weren't even mentioned in the second Infamous at all.
So they're just going to do a massive retcon then.
More or less.
That's lame.
I mean, when you expand on lore, like within canon like that, when you have a game where you can make a lot of decisions and whatnot, like they almost always eventually go to the default, like good ending, white straight male dude, marrying the main. Like KOTOR 1 is a good example of them basically going with the most bland version of the story you could think of
We had the same for Fallout as
and
well.
making it canon.
Does this mean Mass Effect 4 is going to go off the synthesis ending? Because that horrifies me.
Yeah, it wouldn't even
God.
be if we had a post Mass Effect 3 title based off the synthesis ending. I don't even think you could consider it a Mass Effect game anymore. It'd be some kind of weird like Spore Terminator. I don't even know.
Well, that's clearly
Fucking
not to talk about the
horrifying.
ending of Mass Effect 3 too much, but that's obviously the ending that BioWare
Please
sort of...
don't. I have never played it.
I've not played it. I've not played
Wow.
it
Well,
either.
don't talk about that. Don't talk about it, Fargo.
Poor Fargo.
That was
You
close.
know what? You know what, Fizz? Play through the Mass Effect trilogy. Play through the Mass Effect trilogy. You will love it until the last 5 minutes, then you might have some
Download
thoughts.
the extended cut, and you will not rage, but you will be angry. It will downgrade.
If you
Actually, it might be best to download all the DLC for that stuff too, because it's pretty good.
if you want the best experience you could possibly have in Mass Effect, you'll play the first game, and then when the credits start rolling and that awesome song starts playing, you close your eyes and you imagine the Reapers just being stuck in dark space forever.
But then
the
you don't get to
story
play
ends.
Mass Effect 2, which is better than Mass Effect 1.
Well, Mass Effect 2 is really good, but it ends. Its ending is too tied significantly to the third game, so you can't really have like a definitive cathartic ending with the second one. If
And
that
you
makes
can't
sense.
have it with
If-
the third.
If you're following the main
Unless you
You
let
plot.
can't have it
Shepard
with the
die.
third either, but
Well, the closest you can get is with the first, I think. But I mean, like the second one, yeah, has a really good ending, but it like doesn't really tie up anything with the main
yeah,
plot.
but you get to do the suicide mission, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was the best part of the game by
Do you
far.
understand
was the
any of this,
suicide
Fizz?
mission. Just being like, without spoiling anything for Fizz, it's like you're just on the edge of your seat the entire time. The first time you do it.
Okay, honestly, I purposely spaced out, but
I kind
I'm
of did
fine.
too. I kind of did too because it seems that Fizz and I are the only two who have not actually played through the full-on like Mass Effect.
I want to play it, and I think I want to when I get a PC, because I think that's what's going to happen. Is I'm going to get the Mass
Well, then you have to
Effect
get
series.
Origin.
Well, no matter what I do,
Well, yeah,
I'm
there's a
screwed.
trilogy of it released, so you're
Mass
good.
Effect 1 on
Oh,
the
that is true. I kind of forgot about that.
Mass Effect 1 on the
kinda forgot about
PC is
that.
by far.
Yeah, they released the trilogy on PS3 too, so you're good anywhere.
Sweet.
Oh god.
I don't know why I forgot about that.
I would recommend not playing Mass Effect 1 on any of the consoles because it's awful.
Well, how's the PS3 version? I haven't
It's
really heard
exactly
anything
the
about
same
it.
as the 360 version, except they put VSync on.
Well, thank God they put V6.
So it still
Like,
it still
but,
goes to 15
like, I
frames per
actually played-
second.
See, I adored Mass Effect 1 on 360, and I played it 6 million times on the 360, but the one time I played it on the PC, I was like, God damn it, why didn't I play it on the PC every time?
It's the original one is not a very well optimized game,
Oh, it's one of the...
Yeah, but it's still probably the best
except
one
for
out
2,
of the three.
which is the best.
I would still...
I will fight.
I would say 1 is the best still, but the frame rate drops, like... The frame rate drops in combat are just fucking terrible in the first one. Unless
There
you're on
wasn't
PC.
much of a problem for me. I powered through it.
I don't know, if you get like 3
Like a
Krogans
boss.
charging you at the same time and you're like 5 frames per second, what is happening? Uh-oh, I'm dead.
So
You were probably screwed anyways at that point, so.
Yeah.
back to E3 games.
Yeah, not games that came out 5-6 years ago.
Yeah. I think another game that I'm really intrigued about is Murdered Soul Suspect. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Okay.
I haven't seen the trailer yet, but I saw like one tiny thing about it.
I'm intrigued because it looks kind of interesting. I don't know what exactly you're probably going to end up doing with it, or especially with the combat, but I'm kind of interested to know what that game is about, or more about, other than what they've showed us in a trailer. What about you guys? Anything else?
Well, I mean, I kind of mentioned it already, but the only Nintendo game I'm like really excited about, simply because I have to be, it's just in my blood. I did it as a kid all the time too, is Super Smash Brothers. Even though like I haven't really played Brawl at all in the last like 4 years.
Brawl wasn't as good as
I'm
Melee.
still... Yeah, I mean, the only thing Brawl had that was truly awesome because I was a fanboy back in the day was Sonic, and I was like, yeah, Sonic vs. Mario, awesome. But that was pretty much all it really had over Melee.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, now that you said Sonic, another game I'm really interested in is Sonic Lost World because I have to give it to Sega. They're actually taking a Sonic game that they had canned long ago that was going to be on the Saturn, and they're actually retailoring it and actually going to release it. Yay!
And the most intelligent thing they did was they were like, Nintendo, help us make a good Sonic platformer, please, Jesus. And Nintendo was like, alright, whatever. Just make it exclusive.
So what do you guys think of the Elder Scrolls Online? I'm kind of interested in that.
Squee.
Okay, yeah. It's funny you brought that up, and we can talk about this for an hour, but I was really, really skeptical for a really long time, like for 90% of the time that it has been in existence, pretty much. And then this recent, like, first-person trailer came out, and I was like, alright, if this trailer translates well into gameplay, and it really does feel like a massively multiplayer, it looked more like Oblivion to me, combat-wise, I'm totally on board for that. I just hope that it translates well enough to actually feel like an Elder Scrolls game instead of just, Guild Wars 2, but with Elder Scrolls skin over it.
Yeah, they're coasting off Skyrim, so I really hope online works.
I'm kind of hoping it does too, really. And I mean, I don't really play many MMOs. There's only one that I'm actually playing, and ironically, you can have it that you cannot see other people. But with how it looked like it'll run pretty well, so I'm cautiously optimistic about it.
Yeah, same here. So would you guys do it for PC or PS4?
It depends. It depends on a lot of things. I'll probably go PC, but it really depends on what runs it better because, the PC might have extra features on it that may not actually work that well. And it depends on if the model might be different for different platforms because they haven't talked about the model at all yet. And although, these new consoles are kind of designed with different business models in mind, like obviously Microsoft has been aiming towards like a free-to-play friendly console and stuff like that. We'll see if the model might be different between platforms or something. But I would say now probably PC, but maybe PS4.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how it's going to work on PS4, but I'm kind of intrigued, to be honest, because I don't really know how it's going to work exactly, especially with the controls and everything. So for me, probably it all depends on which platform works the best.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, there are some MMOs that have been on consoles that have done pretty well. I mean, the Phantasy Star Universe series is probably a good example.
Yeah.
And Champions Online, I think.
It comes down a lot for me, like who I know, like the people I know, if they're going to play it, what they're going to play it on. And chat is also kind of an issue, how they're going to handle that on consoles because, you can't really type on a controller.
Well, it's going to be different. They're not going to be playing with PC people. They're segregating every single console and PC, so.
I'm only interested because PS4 is getting PlanetSide 2, I think. And what was the other one?
DayZ. They're getting DayZ.
I'm trying to think now.
No, it was another MMO.
No, I don't. The other one that was announced. Someone help me here.
Can't think of anything.
I can't think.
Was it War Thunder or was it a
was
different
another
one?
shooter, I think. No, it was Blacklight Retribution. That one, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those are two games I've wanted to play for the longest time, but because I have a Mac, no one releases games for the Mac, so I'm kind of
That's
stuck.
for truth. The last game that I played on my Mac was Amnesia, the Justine DLC. So that was the last PC game I played.
Did they actually announce any PC exclusives this E3? I don't remember if they did.
Not that I
No, I don't think so.
PC
That's
exclusives are suicide nowadays, man, for big developers.
Yeah,
Well, I
that's
mean,
true.
it depends on the genre. I mean, you're usually not going to release like an RTS or
Well,
something on a console.
To be fair,
Pikmin.
A lot of indie games are on PC that aren't moving on to other consoles. But speaking of that,
Yeah, but they're indie and they don't have the most to lose like big developers do, right? So
well, Sony kind of changed that now. But speaking of that, what really surprised me was Diablo 3. That surprised me coming to PS3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that announcement was made a while ago, but like seeing the trailer for it, I was like, okay, I don't care what people said about Diablo 3 when it launched for the PC. This reminds me of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 3, which doesn't exist, and that's why I want to play it.
What I'm interested in is if now that Sony have a relationship with Blizzard and this platform for MMOs, if the PS4 might get something like Titan. That could be interesting.
If
Maybe.
Titan ever actually exists.
Yeah, because didn't they say something about Titan or whatever a while ago?
They, so Titan's been in development for like 7 years or something. And they had a lot of their main WoW devs move on to that project like a long time ago. I think back in the Burning Crusade days or something like that. And so recently they were like, they weren't getting any, well, they didn't actually say how much progress they'd made in it yet. But the main issue was investors were getting really antsy about WoW losing subscribers and Diablo 3 not performing how they wanted it to. And StarCraft 2 being the only game, like current game that's actually doing what they want it to. And they pulled a lot of those devs off of the Titan project to work and to basically get some of their other stuff on track, which at this point WoW's a lost cause, I think. But as far as I understand, the Titan project has been kind of like rebooted. It's not completely scrapped, but it sounds like they've lost a lot of time and money. So I don't know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on, but I was kind of surprised a little bit that Diablo 3 is coming to the PS4 because Blizzard has had 3 pretty much the only PC exclusive, if you don't count MMOs, to the PC.
Well, Diablo 3 is coming out for 360. It's coming out for all the consoles pretty much except for Wii U.
Well, yeah, but
which I find kind of weird.
So it's just
it's because the new consoles have the RAM to take all those MMOs and stuff. I mean, those games are RAM intensive.
Well, true, but it's still pretty huge. I mean, what was used to be PC exclusive isn't exclusive anymore, so that's kind of huge, to be honest.
The thing is, like, a lot of those developers, like, the reason why they didn't want to do... Well, I think one of the main reasons they didn't want to do Diablo 3 on consoles initially was because, you know, point-and-click action RPG, or ARPGs? Yeah, whatever they're called. They, you know, traditionally use mouse and keyboard, so trying to reinvent, like, the way you control your characters in that game just, I guess, seems pretty daunting for them.
I don't think I'll be playing Diablo 3 on a console, to be perfectly honest with you. I've been playing on my Mac, and I'm happy.
What I find kind of ironic about it is that the PS3 and PS4 version aren't going to have always online, which sort of makes it instantly more agreeable than the PC version.
It's weird that the console versions are like better than than the fucking PC version, but I don't know if they've spent this long trying to convert the controls to actually fit in a controller and it's local 4-player co-op. I can't really say that's bad at all. Yeah, I'm on board for that.
Yeah, look what happened to Minecraft.
Yeah, that exploded on console, like, completely. I have a lot of friends who played it on PC since it first came out, but I also have a lot of friends who didn't jump on until it came out on XBL.
Apparently, though, Notch has said that once his contract's up with Microsoft, apparently he's also going to try and get it on Sony and Nintendo consoles as well.
Oh, that's cool.
It seems like it would fit in Nintendo.
Yeah, it seems like it would go with Nintendo very well, especially with the touchpad and everything.
Am I just reading it wrong, or... Because when they announced, you know, Minecraft on the Xbox One, they said, oh, it's going to be bigger and have all the new features and stuff. Didn't they promise all that stuff coming to the 360? So are they now just saying, like, now the 360 isn't getting that, and if you're going to want this new version that's as good as the PC version, you need to get the Xbox One version? Because that's kind of shit.
It wouldn't be above them.
Well, they did say they were supporting the 360 for a little while more, so it's still selling them a truckload, so they'll still support it. The problem with the 360 version was the limited size due to the memory, so the Xbox One is probably going to have pretty big worlds comparatively.
Yeah, I heard weren't explosions and stuff really laggy in the Xbox
version? They're lagging
version?
the PC version.
Oh, really? Well, I heard the Xbox One version allegedly is supposed to have better explosions, whatever that means. I guess they're more Michael Bay faces, like flying out of the
Yeah,
explosions.
they just have like
Deal breaker.
they just have like full DirectX 11 explosions that look so out of place with the rest of the game.
I'd prefer GoldenEye explosions. Just like the two-dimensional
They're sort of like
flame pixels.
they sort of like climb over one another.
They just like phase through solid objects and stuff. Those were awesome.
So, was anyone really excited for Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare?
Not really.
I wasn't. I
Nope.
thought it was a joke.
I thought it looked like more refined Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, except with characters and models I didn't give a shit about.
And that was one of the games a lot of my friends were most excited for, simply because the trailer was hilarious. The disco zombie, when it showed up, I was like, sold. I'm getting that.
Like the gameplay looks kind of fun, but I don't know. It doesn't look like something I can get into. Just because I'm a flower shooting fucking seeds or whatever at a zombie. That's compelling.
Is it like free to play or?
No.
Another game kind of like that is Octodad, where I'm kind of
Oh.
hoping it's.
Yes.
I mean, it looks funny, but I don't know if I could play that long enough before the appeal gets really old. You know what I mean?
I think
Yeah.
the concept is amazing enough to carry the whole game.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe.
Yeah, like Lollipop Chainsaw.
Oh yeah, but still, I mean, the way they explained it is every button and whatever on the controller controls something. So I'm kind of wondering, how long is this game, and do they know that it might get old after a while?
Well, basically, from what I saw of the PC version, it was like, you'll go like downstairs and you've got a basic action to perform, but because the controls are so complicated, you always mess it up. And your essential thing is you're not supposed to have people recognize that you're an octopus. So if you do poorly, like making coffee, people will recognize that you're an octopus.
That kind of reminds me of the game. Was it Co-op?
That's what I was thinking of.
like
Quap.
running-
Yeah.
The-
It's like
Quap.
Or Mount
it's
Your
like
Friends.
co-op with a purpose.
Oh God, why?
So, what about Outlast? What do you guys think of that? I'm actually kind of excited for a horror game that actually looks really good and is basically designed to scare the shit out of you. So I don't know if you guys are into that kind of stuff, but for me, I'm kind of excited for that game.
I've never been big into survival horror, honestly.
Same here. I mean, I'll play like the Fatal Frame games because those will literally scare the living crap out of me. But other than that, not really. I won't play that many.
Is Outlast the one that has the randomly generated environments?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, that looks awesome. That's all I got.
What about you, Thoughtful? Yay, nay?
Well, I don't really play too many horror games, and the last couple I played have been really awful, like The Monastery. I think there was one called Zombie Outback. Mind you, those were indie games, but still, it was just like, I'm not into horror games. I don't want to scream in the middle of the night and wake up everyone, so...
But that's the whole point, to scare the shit out of yourself. That's what makes it fun.
If I were roommates with a really understanding person, then maybe, but...
Oh.
It's a matter of more circumstances rather than anything else that I don't play them.
Oh, I got a good one. What was everybody's favorite upcoming game that wasn't at E3?
Last Guardian.
That's not a good answer.
It's a depressing, sorrowful answer.
How dare you mention that?
We don't
Take
like
it
to
back.
talk about it.
I was like, oh, they've run the price. Now if they close out with The Last Guardian, and then there was a montage. And then I cried.
Oh, I have one. Deadly Premonition.
Question.
I got one that I don't even know if it's going to get localized or not, and I hope it does. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle.
What?
Oh yeah. Has nobody heard of this?
No,
Oh,
I
I've
have
heard of it.
not.
I'm just trying to remember what it is.
It's like the 21st or 25th anniversary edition, like remake of the fighting game based off of the crazy ass manga from the 80s.
Oh, that one. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Dude, the game is like, okay, so the manga and the anime are like kind of, I mean, they're really, they're like cult hits. They're pretty popular with certain circles and stuff like that. Anyway, like watching the trailer, it's so painfully obvious like why it's going to be a tough time selling this in the West because it doesn't have a huge fan base over here, and it looks so homoerotic. It's not even funny. And I mean homoerotic in the literal sense of homoerotic.
What console is it going to be on? Or
PS3 in Japan so far.
so then it's not going to be region locked.
That's true. It's a fighting game, but like, you just have to watch a trailer, and it's just so fucking out there.
Well, this generation has proved that if it's good, it'll find an audience. So
Yeah, apparently they patented or they got maybe I think it was a domain name or something like that for a Western domain website. Basically, there was some evidence saying that it might get localized at some point, but they haven't talked about it yet.
There are a lot of games.
Well, see, and that's why I'm kind of excited for the Deadly Premonition, the director's cut, because I was gonna import that from Japan, but it was gonna be like $80. It was the cheapest I found it, and so when I heard that they're gonna bring it to the States for much cheaper, I think they said like 40 or something like that. I was super excited, so I'm kind of excited for that to finally come over here.
What do you import?
See, I'd do that if there were English subtitles because I can't read Japanese, but I don't know
No,
if that's a for sure thing.
It's going to be localized, so that's exciting.
Isn't Deadly Premonition director's cut already out?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Wait, it
on
might
Amazon
be.
UK, it's been out since May.
Well, it's the UK. We're in the States
Yeah, but if
here.
you're looking to import it, then if you get it from
Wait,
the UK, it'll be localized.
Things always come out in the U.S. before they come out in the U.K. except for movies for some reason.
According to
That is true.
according
yeah.
to PlayAsia.com, it's gonna be in the U.S. and it's $39.
Hooray!
And then if you wanted to get it from Europe on PlayAsia, it's $49.
But yeah, we didn't get we didn't get answers from everybody yet.
Okay.
I think we're still missing one from Narayan.
Well, does it technically count? They didn't really say much about like the Final Fantasy X HD remake. They just showed it briefly, like saying, "Oh yeah, here's this." That's it.
I don't know. If it was on the show floor, then it doesn't count.
They didn't really even have it on the show floor at all either. They just said, "Okay, it's being made."
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they've pretty much not really said much about it. They've just been saying, "Okay, it's being made." They don't even really have a full-on release date for it. It just has a placeholder price and a placeholder date on places like Amazon. Because
I really hope that they keep the original audio for that horrible laugh.
I think they are going to.
Just so I can watch it. I just want to watch that laugh in HD all day.
They might do that. See, with the Kingdom Hearts one, it was different for that HD remake, and that's something else they didn't have on the floor. They had like a small little trailer they made for it, but it's been out in Japan since March, and they actually are just fully redoing the voice acting for that one. So
That makes sense.
So, was anyone excited for Fez 2? Because that was barely at E3. That was like a 2-second trailer.
Oh, really? Actually,
Yeah, so
I have not even played Fez.
I just realized one game that I was very disappointed at that wasn't even mentioned at E3 that a lot of people thought was going to be mentioned was Persona 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of
kinda-
surprised.
Atlas made like no plays at all this E3. It's really
I'm
weird.
curious if they're gonna make Persona 5 a console game or a handheld game, considering how well Persona 4 Golden did on the Vita.
Well, that's weird. I don't know if we can really say whether or not. All I can say is that they plan to use the Catherine engine, and obviously you could probably run that. You could probably run a game like Catherine on the Vita, but I think it would be dumb if they didn't release the Persona 5 multi-platform at this point.
Yeah, that would be kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because it's got such a huge audience. I mean, honestly, I think they should, and they probably will at some point, they should probably release Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden on the 3DS.
They might be doing that. I think I heard something about that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were to do that sometime in the future.
I mean, they're doing it for like every other SMT game.
This is coming up on 2 hours, so just quickly, what consoles are you guys going to get now that E3 is over?
I guess I'll go first. Well, I don't think my PC needs to be upgraded, but I guess probably a PS4 once it actually has a bunch of good games. I'm not gonna get it at launch if there's nothing to play.
I guess I'll go second. I'm gonna get a Wii U eventually when it gets a few more things, like mainly for Sonic Lost World because I really want to play that, and a PS4, and I already have a PC, so
I guess I'm torn because I've been an Xbox guy for the longest time, and I really am impressed by the PS4. It pretty much dominated E3 with its price point, its less restrictive features. I mean, if I were like a betting man, I would say who's a serious gamer is gonna go on the PS4. So I would probably have to get a PS4 before I got an Xbox One, at least.
I would imagine some people would go after Halo though, and just to get the Xbox One just for that.
Yeah, I just don't think Halo can sell consoles the way that it did back when the 360 launched. Like, there was a lot more going for Halo, the whole franchise, back before Halo 3 came out.
That's true.
but Halo TV.
Oh, to be fair, that Forward Unto Dawn or whatever that movie, I saw it on Netflix, and it actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah, that one wasn't bad.
It had the girl from Chronicles of Narnia in it, so I mean, come on.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Sweet.
What about you, Fargo?
PS4, and if they drop the price on the Wii U, I'll probably get a Wii U at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I might too at some point.
For me,
Maybe.
at some point I'll get a PS4, and then maybe if there's another game other than Bayonetta 2, I'll get a Wii U. That's really it for me. I mean, eventually I'll get a PC, but for now I don't know what's going on with Nintendo, so it's just a wait and see still for me with them.
It's sort of weird that there aren't...
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, fine.
Oh, it's awkward.
It's sort of weird that this is one of the first console launches, I think, where there's no one game to sell one console like an exclusive.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that can really happen anymore. I mean, they're just the market is so saturated at this point that, I mean, Call of Duty is going to be multi-platform all the time, so the dude bro vote is up in the air. No offense to Call of Duty fans, obviously.
Yeah. Can we? Oh, sorry. What were you about to say?
I was just about to say, but there's a dog in it now. Riley.
Oh, look at the weirdo
Yeah,
dog.
you can play as the dog.
And fishies.
Oh,
I look forward to the emotional dramatic...
These fish are so
I look forward to the
realistic.
emotional death of that dog.
Oh my god.
You know they're gonna do that.
Oh yeah, that dog is totally gonna die.
He better
Anyways,
not die.
before we wrap this up, I actually wanted to see what everyone thought about these quick two titles. Titanfall.
Don't know enough about it.
Meh.
Titanfall looked interesting,
It looked pretty good.
and it's not an Xbox One exclusive
know,
like they
they're-
were saying.
Yeah, I don't know why they were saying
Well, it's going
that.
to the PC, so
There's something like I don't know. There's something very bland about it, and I can't put my finger on it. But nothing in the trailers like really caught my attention. I guess.
Yeah.
What concerns me about it is that it reminds me of Brink,
Yes.
and that's just generally concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a good point.
yeah, I guess.
So what's the other title?
I don't know if any of you guys caught it, but I was really actually excited because a lot of people don't really count Microsoft as having any good indie titles, but they've had a good run over the past couple of years. Below.
That sounds familiar.
Never even
Which
heard
one
of
was it?
That was the roguelike game they showed off.
I don't know what that is. I'm blanking on what that is.
It looked to me like the 2DS Journey one. Is that the one you mean?
Yeah, slightly, with just a eye-straining view of the
Ah,
protagonist.
that one.
For me,
Yeah.
there's been so many.
Oh, I think I know what you're
For me,
talking
there's been so many roguelikes on the PC at this point that something just being a roguelike doesn't interest me.
I see your point, but it was fun just to hear the Microsoft execs say roguelike for the first time on stage. I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. And looking at that game, I was like actually impressed with its art design. Fez really impressed me with its art design. A lot of indie games on the indie service have really impressed me, and Below really looked like it could be an immersive experience.
That actually reminds me of the Xbox One about art design. I am not at all like interested in any way, shape, or form with the art design of the new Killer Instinct. That looks so uninspired to me.
Yeah, that looks bad.
Isn't it free to play as well, where you
Yeah.
have one character and you have to buy the
Yeah.
rest? That's really stupid.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That should never happen on a fight. That's a fighting game. You can't do that in a fighting game. What?
This is Microsoft here.
What?
It's also
No.
All right, everyone. 3,
no way.
2,
Fuck
1.
Microsoft.
Fuck Microsoft.
Fuck you, Microsoft. What the fuck? No way. You can't do that to fighting games. It doesn't work.
It's also not made by Rare. It's made by Double Helix, who have made games like G.I. Joe and Green Lantern, the movie tie-in.
Oh God, yeah, I read about that. Jesus,
Do you need a pat on the
Why?
back,
Oh,
Pappy?
we're all doomed.
Jesus.
All right. Well, on that little sad note.
Like, I'm not even a Killer Instinct fan. Sorry, Fizz.
No, it's okay. No, it's this. I would imagine this would get even more depressing because there's some other shady shit that happened too. So we should probably close this down because we're now over 2 hours. So
That's almost as much as the Skyrim
don't
episode.
remind me,
Jesus.
please. God, that was long.
Good luck editing all this.
So
All right,
anyways,
damn
so anyways, laugh at my pain.
Mwah.
So anyways, that's probably all we can talk about since they showed a lot of games that apparently that was on the show floor, and I've been reading about it for the past several days. So we can probably be here all day talking about it. So that's the episode to end it awkwardly because I'm really good at that. Yes.
One quick thing. I don't remember if they said it, and I've been out of the loop for a while. But is Pokemon X and Y actually have like real online capabilities?
I think so. Yeah.
All right, me and my girlfriend are getting it, so you have to play it with us, Fizz, because I know you're a Pokemon
What about
fan.
Pokemon?
Yay!
I'm getting it.
Yay!
All right, we'll all play together.
Hooray! I love Pokemon.
Hooray! We can end the E3 discussion on a nice note.
All right, everyone on 3 as our farewell. Say yay. 1, 2, 3. Yay!
Yay!
Gay.
I thought you said gay, sorry.
Damn you.
What did we say? I said gay, yay, but I wasn't sure what we were
I
supposed to
didn't
say.
know
either. We just ended this like Microsoft did. We totally failed it.